Alright guys, so yesterday I didn't have time to do a recap, but I'm gonna go over yesterday's pretty briefly. Yesterday, it was like a hit or miss. So I ended up taking two puts, and then those did not pay. No, the puts did pay, but the calls initially did not. They were actually leaning a bit more bearish, and I'll briefly show what it was yesterday. And then I was in an ARM position that I did take off today, and I'll go over that. And then I also entered MP swing and then CIFR swing for another month out. I was looking at their heat maps, their net gamma, and so we'll just scroll to today. So yesterday was a small green day, but today was a bit better, way better. So today total 314. The ARM calls paid, and then these were from the call out from the swings from the Discord I'm in, and then I'll put the link in the bio if you guys are interested. So I made this much from the swings. It was pretty good, and then today I don't know. I think I was leaning more bullish, but looking at the tape, something came up, and I didn't ask myself, was there more upside? And there wasn't more upside. And then I took off the MP calls as well. I was already up 180%. I'll take those off the table. If you're up 180%, just take it off the table. And then today, just now, I actually got another 100% just for one contract for a possible breakout, 647 on QQQ. So we'll break them down one by one. So what I did today, and we're gonna put the replay. So this was before the open. I'm gonna put it by 2 minutes. I think it's easy to see. So first thing in the morning, I'm looking at QQ. We already made a high. I was looking at the high. So the high was 650, and that we're already hitting all-time highs in pre-market. And I was like, that's pretty insane. But then Trump spoke, and then at 5:30 we started dumping. So that was pretty annoying of him to start speaking. And then at the open we get this insane wick from 649 all the way down to 646 after the first, just immediately when the market opens. I was like, what the hell? So this is what things look like before the market open and then after. So things are, what I'm looking at is like, okay, where are my walls, or where are my ceiling, where are my roof? Now everything looks a little bit scattered. So they always say, okay, if you can't tell what something looks like right now, don't trade. But you have to look at your structure. So we had like a 3 point range. We flushed all the way down 646 and we started recovering. Then we recovered above the 200 moving average, and I'm like, hey, this is looking pretty bullish. So I'm actually going to take this off right now so it's a little bit cleaner to see. So yeah, I took my entry right here for the 650 calls. I was like, I think we can see 650. So at that entry, I entered 705. So 705, I'm scrolling and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing more upside on SPY. This was looking as a possible floor. And then on SPX, now this one was getting me a bit stumped. So maybe this was telling me not to trade, but I didn't take a trade until 705. So 705 comes around, and I'm like, okay, cool. We have a king node high, more room to the upside. SPY looks like a bit, I don't know. So SPX and QQQ were sort of communicating similar bullish sentiment. We were having some orders piling up at 655, and I was like, okay, that kind of got me convinced. And with these orders, the ceiling kept going up. So I'm like, okay, this seems like we have some sort of establishment of a support. But then, looking at the chart, I'm like, okay, this is supporting that. So the first 15 minutes is already pretty much in. This is what I'm looking at. I'm like, cool. I'm in my 650 calls. We actually made a high at 650.20. I was up for a little bit, and I didn't take the profit, and I thought we would go higher, but it looks like we didn't really have much upside. So we're gonna go to 715. So 715, and then something comes up. I don't know if you guys can spot that. Look, between 1014 or 714 and 716, look what comes up. This should have been my cue to get out, because on SPY their node was at 705. That was the signal to get the hell out. Now I could have taken my profit here, but I didn't. I don't know. I think I was just trying to fool myself and seeing an upside towards QQ to 655 because there's volume coming up. But then, a couple minutes later, the volume down here starts increasing. Earlier, we didn't have that. And I was like getting convinced that we would have an increasing of support. And here we had the king node at 7165 on SPX. And I didn't see anything downside, but SPY came out of nowhere with that. From like just within 2 minutes, you see this 705 from 14K to 55K, and then later it goes 60K. 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, that should have been the cue to get out. I would have been down $30 on those calls I took, but I was not. So I ended up getting out a little too soon for loss of 126 on those. So I was like, damn, well, I just got some gains for the swings, but now I took that loss. And I took the loss right here around 750, and that's when I started going bearish. And the moment to go bearish would have been here. Would have been a better entry because that node presented itself already. So the moment I switched to puts was at 750. So let's keep going. Keep going, keep going. You see the flow is changing, and then I'm seeing an order flow pop up at 770. So this is 2 out of 3 communicating the same. Then we have QQQ 645 also communicating that. So if there's a confluence between the three, then that needs to tell me that, hey, you need to get out and switch immediately. And I was too late. I mean, by this time I was already in puts, but I had already taken the loss. And then I took the puts. I only took one put. I took them for 648 on the break right here at the break of the 200 moving average. I thought that was pretty safe, so I took exited this area and also entered for the puts, and I held for about 5 minutes, and then these actually paid, but I didn't hold on to them as long as I wish I could have, because these contracts went up to 346, 356, and I think after that loss, it just didn't make me feel so comfortable in holding. We did end up dropping to a low of 645, and then we can see here around 8 a.m. my time. Look at the nodes. The nodes already increasing. They're piling up. And there's already a king node at 705. So I still have to be patient and see what is going to give me an obvious answer. Now, at the open, here it does not show any upside. This was confusing me. This was not, this was very neutral. It did not show much. I was trying to give myself a bias and thinking that would happen, but no, didn't happen. And then this was a confirmation right here that, hey, this is something piling up. And then 770 was already going up at the same time. It lit up a little bit earlier, and something I noticed, so right here, I was like, hey, that order is coming up. So I need to be more patient and get out when I see that signal. I just thought it was odd, and I thought it was going to hold, but nope, things did not hold. So you can see here, boom. You see how that changed? Now we had a king nodes. The values on below the spot price, which is the current price, started piling up. So if I see that, then that means we have room to the downside, and then room to the downside we did. So we see we have this. This is already at 9 a.m. my time, so I think we already sunk. Yeah, that 645 king node ended up piling up. The upside started decreasing, so that is a sign. You see, if you're using Skylit, the upside is lowering itself, or the values are decreasing. So that should tell me, okay, this is bearish. That is not bullish. There is no room to the upside. Now, earlier, okay, so yeah, I did recover, and then my MP calls. I'll go over MP. So if I'm taking a swing, this is the exact pattern you should be looking for. That everything above the 200 moving average, 9, 20, 50 above that 200 moving average. You see how this nicely broke out? I entered yesterday for an average of $51, and then these came back at 143, so almost a 200% return. And I only took one of those, so I thought that was pretty good. So going forward, like this is a swing you want to be looking at. Rocket Lab, same thing. This is a similar breakout. You need to look at this breakout for swings, and it is pulling back a little bit. Might have a good opportunity to enter for $100 calls because I did exit, and these did end up going higher yesterday. Even though I exited, I thought we were going to go lower yesterday. Nope, we went higher. So I'm going to see where we bounce off on that. So MP paid pretty good, and that did recover some of that loss. And then just now, 647 calls. So when I took the 647 calls, they were closer to the end of the day. This is a power hour from 12 to 1 or 3 to 4. So these actually moved a little bit higher when I got out, but the premium might be, decayed because it pulled back pretty sharply, and it's already back up 647, but I basically sold it at where it's currently at right now. So this was, let's see, let me see what time frame that was. So this was 11:55 my time. So let's see, 12, 1, 2. So around 2. Right now it's 3 p.m. So around 2. Okay. This is what I was saying. And then we actually had a commentary coming out at a potential lift and blockade. So that's what I heard and got me interested. So that's when I took my position here for the calls, and I got an easy 2x. I thought that was pretty calm. We'll look at the flow for this. So you see how immediately the king node starts decreasing, and then we have more room to the upside. Now this is flow going to the upside, and then the chart has respects that. The chart did respect the structure. I noticed that on the 15-minute chart, we were already going green on the MACD. That was my also signal to get in. 9/20 on the 5-minute, and on the 200 moving average on the 1 minute, we were already above it. We were just looking for that VWAP breakout. It was struggling. I thought we would get more of an explosive move, but we did not. It was just struggling to break out, and I thought that would give us more room to go up. But we slowly broke through it, and then I took them off for $43. So no, 100% gainer. So we did pretty good today. Pretty good, pretty good. Now let's see. I think I mentioned I am in Palantir position. So I'm scheduled for or positioned myself for Palantir 160 calls. So why Palantir? So same thing. I'm anticipating that the structure breakout will also be similar. So look at this. All right, I totally forgot to change the screen. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. This confirmed my breakout over here and on the 15-minute, and we are squeezing a bit higher, so these might be a little bit more. Um, yeah, these might be a little bit more, but I'll take it off the table. So why Palantir? So Palantir, this EMA is still holding above the 20. We're breaking above the 200. As soon as this 50 goes above, I think we'll have really good, I guess, confirmation. Not confirmation, but better room to the upside. Now, I use both the Warrior Trading and the Robinhood to go hand in hand. So I mark my price target. So I look at the daily because I want to see, okay, where do we have on the daily? The daily, we definitely have that 200 moving average to break through. We're going green on the MACD, so that's a good sign. These averages are coming together. And then I see 156 is another top, 162 as a potential top. And also I have the trend line. So I'm like, okay, we've been downtrending since the beginning of the year. And I'm like, oh, cool. Let me look at the weekly. So the weekly. So I go from bigger time frame to smaller time frame and see what am I looking at. We bounce off this lower this descending support, and we are starting to we sort of based out right here. We have a base, so that's good. Now it makes me feel confident for a call back up. So now we have the 50 EMA. We're above this. We're looking to pretty much squeeze through those levels. I mean, I think it's possible. And then 4-hour chart too was what I was looking at. I think it's possible. I mean, we could see close to 160. I did position them out for next Friday, so I have time. I'm not worried. I might add on a dip, but I added two just so I can if one goes crazy, I'll let the other one go. Where did it go? Yeah. So I got them pretty cheap. They were like at $99. I got one at 103, and then I added on top of that. But yeah, that sort of breakout is what I'm looking for. But that was pretty much it. And then I'm going to come out with a video later today on how to set up on Robinhood Legend from scratch. So start from scratch and, put a chart and then just go from there and how to build it. So that way you know how to do this for free instead of paying for warrior trading because it's pretty expensive. And then for my small caps, so yesterday I traded and today I traded. Yesterday I kind of got pissed pretty early because I took a loss and I was like, I'm out. So I lost. Oh, I guess I didn't. So yesterday I lost about $10. I lost $10 yesterday. I thought I input it. Let me import the trade. Let me see. I think I have it. So yeah. Don't know why didn't get imported. Yeah, so I lost $9 and I was like, forget it. I got pissed. And say I lost 38, and this was pretty severe on XRTX. It was a nasty drop, so I just left, and I was down 52, and I managed to get some money back. But this wasn't the best week so far. So yeah, all right, take care, guys. Peace.